Digu Naomab, the marketing director of Namibia Wildlife Resorts, challenged municipalities and regional council to proactively engage in business to develop their towns and region during a recent event where UNAM launched a manual on tourism, resilience and sustainability. The manual is part of a series of material funded by GIZ and were created through a cooperation between UNAM, the German Committee for Disaster Reduction and Futouris, covering a 5-step process that entailed defining the destination, identifying sources of risk, understanding risks and options for action, analyzing enablers and barriers for action, and creating ownership and reflecting resilience principles.
The recent establishment of the Erongo Tourist Forum, it is indeed a testimony of my seriousness and commitment to recover the industry. The Erongo region has been the hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, not only where we have longest lockdown, but we were the first epicenter of the pandemic. Sadly, we also experienced the first COVID death. All of the information brought the tourist industry to its knees, but despite this hardship, I must commend the industry player for their resilience. Very few have retrenched workers, many have relief package for the workers who have been retrenched. I therefore want to thank the industry partners for their resilience.
The manual, launched by the Mayor of Omaruru, Vincent Kahwa, on behalf of the Governor of Erongo Region, Neville Andre, said the aim of the manual include describe the Namibian tourism system, its governance, the key tourism stakeholders and destination tourism inventory, raise awareness of the perceived risk, the impact on tourism, the risk drivers, and a potential option for addressing these risks, establishing enablers and barriers to build destination resilience, identifying viable and acknowledged pathways for destination resilience, and recommend areas for specific training to enhance or build capacity. Here is the full message of the Omaruru-born Naomab.
From the onset, you said, Selma, that people really want to visit Namibia. But it's a complex issue. At the policy level, the government sets the policy, and the policy for the tourism industry for Namibia is that we need to position Namibia as a low volume, high yield tourism destination. Simply meaning we want less tourists, but who are willing to pay fortunes to come to the country. So that means traveling in Namibia is a luxury, as opposed to places like Kenya and Tanzania, whose policies are mass tourism, which is high volume, low yield. We call it the budget destinations. So that's the differentiating factor. Because of the fact, first of all, we are a very long-haul destination, so we have very few airlines traveling to Namibia. So definitely your price for air ticket is already expensive. Staying in Namibia becomes also expensive. Accommodation sector does cost money. So even if we as locals want to travel, we need to invest. However, there are different options. But I guess Namibians, us as Namibians, we are spoiled for choice. Because I've been always telling them, yes, we are promoting domestic tourism. Then they said, oh, lodges are very expensive. I said the lodges are also having camping sites where you could pay between 500 to 600 Namibian dollars for 4 people on a plot, which means each person is probably likely to pay $100. But because we are spoiled for choice, people don't want to tent and camp. Apparently, they are scared from scorpions and all this type of natural insects, but I'm saying, born in Namibia, how can you be afraid of this type of creatures because it is part of the tourism experience, as long as you make sure that you are not bitten. So that's the culture. So we probably need to adopt sometimes to move out of our fixed walls that we are accustomed to, the luxury, to go and tent, because it's another experience itself. Because we are, as a tourism board, selling an experience and not really a product for that matter. So we are selling an experience. As you are traversing the country, when you are seeing the scenery, you need to engage and breathe in the fresh air and the scenery. But of course, we don't take that as tourism. Because I think for us as Namibians, you must go to Crossbarman, swim, drink, and bride. But that is not what this tourism is all about. Not to be noisy and rowdy, but to see nature, the silence of the nature, and to rediscover yourself from all this puzzle and hassle. That is all about it. So maybe we need to also have a mind shift in terms of how we view or how we want to engage in tourism. That is now from the tourism perspective. However, also us as Namibians have a role to play as business entrepreneurs in the tourism space, because a lot of opportunities are abound. It's just for you to think out of the box and be creative. But we know, even though you are creative, sometimes all these things needs money. And money can only be funded by financial institutions, which are sometimes tricky to obtain these funds, although government and us are engaging and trying to make financiers understand how tourism industry works as opposed to a manufacturing industry, because you need a vehicle to be a tour operator. So you need money to buy it. So you don't own a vehicle to put it on as a collateral. That can't work. You need the land to build a guest house. And for that thing that you are needing money, you can't put it as a collateral before you have it and build a guest house. But now they want you to have a collateral upfront. And that is the challenge we are facing within the tourism industry. However, I have seen and I've noticed currently, like GIZ are funding entrepreneurs because they are working through startup organizations, which you probably need to engage as a youth in terms of how do you develop and gain funding for you to play meaningfully in a tourism space. Once you have the business or the product, that's only when Namibia Tourism Board comes on board to try and help you, although we are supposed to do generic marketing, how we can assist you in exposing during our farm trips with the foreign tour operators, or when we are bringing journalists and media to this country to expose you to that. So that is what is our role. In fact, our role is being misunderstood because people think from the developing of business and products across to even promoting it as our function, but it is not. Unfortunately, Namibia still has to catch up, because I'm probably now 19 years in a tourism board, and we've been advocating different structures of government to get involved in tourism. Ministry is at a policy level. However, regional councils have a role to play, translating that policy into a strategy for their own region. And once the strategy is set at the regional level, then the local authorities must execute. They must come up with a plan and execute that plan for implementation. Meaning, like this kind of a strategy, that is something that we've been yearning for, that at the regional level, it is formulated, or you have a master plan. What kind of a tourism products do you need to develop, and in which areas, or in which towns? That becomes the master plan of the regional council. Regional council then has to get money from the central government to be able to implement this type of plans through the local authorities. Many a times I was just last year in Katima, I was telling the people, the focus of the municipalities nowadays is just to make money. You want to sell the land to make money, but you are not having a business mind. Why don't you partner with a developer who wants to develop, let's say, a resort or something by availing the land, and in exchange of that land, you are having a shareholding in that business. And that way you are contributing to the development of your own economy of the town. And not just that you do not have to have an investment plan and look for investors in Europe. You yourself can be an investor. I don't think that the Local Authority Act bars you or hinders you from engaging in business. You can identify a project, go and get an investor, saying, I give you the land, I have the shareholding, we are partners in this. This is the whole thing that we are having with the Gatima Mlilo waterfront. Yeah. Now, after government through local authority has invested the money, nobody can run the operations, and the thing is just a white elephant. There are scorpion webs and all this thing, and that thing, it can't be used since it was even developed, it was not even open for public. I know government now wants the NWR to take over, but I don't know whether they will give you the money, because those things is very dilapidated, so you have to rebuild it for an investment of quite a couple of millions that has gone into a property like that. I've been to Hobabis, at least they have listened to me. I'm traveling there about 3 weeks from now, that they are now building their own rest camp, because accommodation facilities is a struggle in Hobabis. But you are part of the Trans-Kalahari Highway, and you don't have accommodation. But you are saying, Namibia Tourism Board, you are not marketing us. I said, yes, I can market you, but where would the people sleep? Yeah. So there are certain things, infrastructure requirements that need to be in place before you as a town can even be marketed. So these are quite critical things. I've been even advising them. They are local, there are people there. Can you not have a bicycle rides? So one of the youth or group of youth can do, and they can acquire these bicycles. Then some can then do a traditional restaurant in township with matangara, whatever you want to cook. When the tourists are there, then of course, then the thing is marketed. People are picked up, they are guided with the bicycles into suburbs or townships, and then they have a lunch or a dinner, and then they can bicycle back. If they do not want to bicycle back, they can then be transported back to those lodges. There are things like that that are possible, which does not probably need quite a lot of money injection. But if you want to do a lot, of course you need to have money. If you want to do a fly-in safaris, the aircraft costs you money. But there are certain products that can be developed and be marketed. So that is what is very critical. And again, the other thing is also, besides involving in infrastructure investment, municipalities also have a role to promote their towns together with us. Having an information center, because when a tourist comes, they need information they can be referred to. That is a community service that municipalities are supposed to provide. But I know Aucho has one. There are a couple of few municipalities that have already been taken on board. Importance of tourism, like Wediba Town Council is really critical. Walvis Bay does play a role. Swakopmund, Vintu, and then Aucho has come on board. So there are a couple of few municipalities that have embraced implementing agenda of tourism as part of their economy of the town. Because when I was engaging regional councils, they have economic departments. And I'm asking you, your economic department, what role does OC play? Except at the regional level, it is very disappointing, because none of them could not tell me what programs they have in place besides tourism, any other economic activity that they want for the region to benefit from. So why are they regional councils? Because they need to provide vision and leadership to the regional constituencies, who then must execute. That was the same thing when because I was asking Governor Pius when we were there. And in fact, when the people learned, they started attacking it. But I said, I did not make this forum for you to attack the municipality and the governor, but that's the truth of the matter, because they have a role in terms of strategizing and planning and executing to the benefit of the community. Even some municipalities have economic departments. Probably those departments only collect water levies and whatever. But what other economic viable activities are they executing and conducting? Because that should be the core function of an economic department, not just trying to collect monies. And after all the monies are collected, what happens? Maybe they get more salaries like City of Itu. So this is very critical. So all of us in tourism has a role to play. That's why we are saying tourism is everybody's business, and not no single person, neither the ministry or neither the Namibia Tourism Board or neither the Namibia Wildlife Resorts. All of us must work in concert if the tourism is to make meaningful impact in our country as an economic tool and a vehicle. Otherwise, we are doomed. And that is what South Africa is. When you look at it, when you at the national level, you have a SA Tourism, who does the general destination marketing. At the provincial level, each province has a tourism board, a mini one. KwaZulu-Natal Tourism, you have Western Cape Tourism or West Grove, you have Gauteng Tourism, who then markets the province. And now within the province, the municipalities are also having their own departments or agencies, whatever you call it, who are also marketing. So when everybody puts more funds together, more impact you make in the world. But now currently, unfortunately, government has been giving us, as Namibia Tourism Board, the last 5 years, 3 million Namibian dollar. But we need to spend money in euros and US dollars and British pounds because we are marketing outside. So your exchange rate is not also in a desirable level for us. It's more expensive to buy foreign currency. And then people sit back and expect, what is NTB doing? 3 million. It's not even the salary budget of the whole organization. So we more are dependent on tourism levies, but of course with the COVID, like the professor just showed you, the impact was there. In fact, in 2020, we only raised 8 million Namibian dollars from levies, plus government 3 million gave us 12 million. What could we do with the 12 million? Now they said, no, do the domestic marketing. Well, I have to plead with Epson and them, say, give discounts to Namibians, let them travel, at least you can keep your business afloat. Don't just shut the doors. You just keep and have Namibians traveling. Of course, they are more understanding, but of course it's the private sector. I cannot control them. The policy does not allow us to control them, to say you must now give so much price for Namibians. This is a free economy. That's what we have adopted in our constitution. So us is to just lobby the private sector to see if they could give special rates now that we are coming up in December. We are supposed to go to holiday. We are stressed. But now these guys are not giving us discounts. Okay, when WR did announce about a week ago, they are giving us now $600 a person per night, including breakfast. Some of their places also includes dinner for that amount of money, which is very fair enough, I guess. Yeah. I guess it's fair enough, but of course as Namibians, we don't only travel as a single person or a husband or wife, we have kids or we have extended family. So we need to start budgeting. So that is, but as I conclude, within the next 2 weeks, you should, especially the youth who have entrepreneurial spirits, we are organizing what we call a tourism symposium. But alongside that symposium, there would be 2 days master classes. Master classes will focus on digital, social media, digital marketing. Because sometimes when we have businesses, we don't know how to market our products itself so that it is known. But social media and digital platforms are more cost effective, but you need to have a sufficient knowledge how to navigate around the landscape and environment for you to be able to see that your products are visible and engaging and reaching the audience that you want to reach. The other one will be focusing on entrepreneurship, how to start business and how to create ideas and start business. And the third one is one that is probably more neglected in Namibia, which is a space that you guys can also play a role, especially in rural communities, is agri-tourism. Agri-tourism, that is to do with agriculture, but there's quite a lot. It's not only cattle farming, there are quite a lot of things involved when we are saying in agri-tourism. So that is a space that I think you people are more knowledgeable than even in a foreign investor to come in. So that is a space that you need to play. The dates scheduled are 6 to 8 December. It will be in Swakopmund, but the announcements will be within next 2 weeks, so watch the space. I thank you very much.